Chairman, and I thought something that Mrs. Eleanor Holmes Norton mentioned earlier was very insightful, which is I think the purpose here is really to sort of treat this as a problem-solving exercise versus a blame-laying. There'll be plenty of time for that, and also other people involved with that. Folks are, some of you, very new to this process. I want to go back and look at the timeline for a little bit. Help me understand this. Mr. Mulvaney, you said the EPA learned about this in the spring of 2015. By the way, do you have a month on that, just for filling in the timeline?
Apologies, Mr. Congressman. My understanding is that EPA first learned that the city was not applying corrosion control to its system in late April of 2015.
April 2015. Now, when did Flint move the water supply to the Flint River, Mr. Cray?
I believe that was moved in April of 2014.
Okay.
But I'll check that with a timeline here for accuracy, sir.
Is that generally comport with everybody's understanding? Yes. And is it generally everybody's understanding that they did not use the phosphate or other similar treatment from the very beginning? Okay. Dr. Edwards, let me ask you the question. If I start pulling water out of the Flint River and I put it through these particular pipes, how long will it take before the water has an impact on the quality of the drinking water that people are drinking? Is it immediate? Does it take a couple months for it to break down the lining on the pipes? How long does that take?
It takes a period of weeks to about a month, and that's when the first consumer complaints started arising about red water, which is iron rust falling into the water.
So give or take, now we're at May of 2014. We're still 11 months from the EPA knowing about it, but here we are, May of 2014. Mr. Cray, I think you said that it was the city's responsibility to certify that the standards had been met. How often are they supposed to do that?
I think it's on an annual basis. I believe it's on an annual basis.
On an annual basis. Okay, so when was the most relevant certification in that 2014-2015 timeline?
So I'll sharpen my answer. I believe that they send in monthly results, but
Okay.
I think that there's an annual review.
All right, so let's focus on the monthly results first. So they're sending results to you folks every month on the quality of the water in Flint, right?
Well, I'm outside my lane of expertise on the particulars of the reporting aspect. So I really can't speak to that directly.
Dr. Edwards is nodding his head, so just clearly somebody, where's the city doing that? You see where I'm trying to get to.
There's a monthly report on distribution system monitoring.
Did the monthly report that the city of Flint was delivering beginning in April of 2014 show that the water quality in Flint was a problem?
It's my understanding it didn't, that it met the Safe Drinking Water Act quality parameters.
Okay. When did the city ever send a report, the monthly report, that said the water didn't meet the standards? Ever?
No, it's a different question, and of course you only answer a question answer, but let me just help you with that, sir.
Sure.
So the water quality parameters that are required under the Safe Drinking Water Act don't necessarily ask for lead to be tested at that point in time.
Okay. Wow. Is that true? That the clean drink, that the EPA doesn't require them to send information on lead?
I believe that you may be talking about two different things,
Possible.
Mr. Congressman.
I don't know anything about this before
water
today,
quality
so.
parameter monitoring, as I understand it, at the drinking water compliance with the lead and copper rule is actually monitored and tested through samples that are taken in the distribution system, because lead leaches into the water from the lead service lines and so forth, and so those samples are not taken at the water treatment plant. I want to add, however, that in 2014, the Flint system actually had multiple violations of Safe Drinking Water Act standards, including the total coliform rule and the disinfection byproducts rule.
This is unfortunate. We only have 5 minutes. We can't do a proper deposition in 5 minutes, especially for witnesses, so I apologize. I've got a lot more questions on the timeline. Let me skip ahead to another question, which is Mr. Palmer just showed me something that says that my state does not report to the CDC on lead in water. Do they report to the EPA? Mr. Mulvaney, I'm from South Carolina.
With regard to lead in water, well, the South Carolina state government would be the primacy agency in South Carolina.
But do they tell you?
Those results are reported up through the EPA's data system.
So while South Carolina might not tell CDC, the Center for Disease Control, they may tell the EPA about the quality of the water, including lead presence in my water in South Carolina.
I would expect so, yes.
And did Michigan do the same thing?
Ultimately, yes.
Okay. Again, my time is up, and I apologize. That wasn't very fruitful, but would like to continue this another time if we can. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank the gentleman. We'll now recognize